Hey everyone, I'm ScramboDegs. Welcome to my new video series, which I call Detox. The video series will explore toxicity in online gaming, the purpose of this behavior, how it's harmful to those of us who are on the receiving end, and what we can all do about it. My goal with this series is to be informative, thorough, and helpful to you all on the topic of dealing with toxicity while gaming online. So my hope is that through the education that we find here, the collaboration with comments and live chat, that we can all rise above the harmful trend of being toxic online, and hopefully we can all make the online gaming space healthier and more inclusive. These concepts and the skills that we learn in this video series are hopefully going to be applicable elsewhere. So you might have noticed toxic trends in other areas of your life outside of online gaming. One of those examples would be just bullying in general. Hopefully some of these ideas can apply to those interactions, and some of the skills that we discuss for dealing with toxicity could also apply to something like bullying in real life. So I will preface this by saying, although I have done research on this topic and I will be citing my sources, a lot of times I'll put links to sources in the description for the video, I'm not claiming to be an expert on the topic of toxicity in online video games. In fact, what I was finding in my research on the topic is that a lot of social scientists, so sociologists, for example, they will do very heavy research on this topic. They have a lot of experience with it, but they don't necessarily claim to be experts either. So it turns out that studying toxicity in online video gaming is still a relatively new thing, and people are still learning about the terminology. They're still coming to grips with how do we define this? How do we know toxicity when we see it? And so even the researchers who are putting out peer-reviewed articles are not necessarily claiming to be experts either. I consider myself as a learner in this subject as well, and I think that's why I'm emphasizing just collaboration, wanting to learn from you all in terms of the comments and live chat that you might put through, any sort of content that you might be willing to share, which is clips of interactions or stories, anecdotes about being on the receiving end of toxicity, or even doling it out. I think this needs to be, or could be, a forum for openness where there doesn't need to be judgment about giving it out or receiving it, that if we can talk about it openly and without judgment, that's ultimately going to lead to a better outcome for everybody, I hope. Later videos in this series will allow for viewer and chat participation in real time. I'm planning on broadcasting these videos on my Twitch channel, and over on that channel, when we do these live videos, I will be doing a breakdown of different clips. Some of them are going to be from my channel, some of them might be from other streamers' channels, and some of them might be from you, the viewers, with submissions. And the purpose of that is to break down these interactions in real time, look at the potential intentions behind the behaviors, the purpose of these behaviors, how the receiving end is affected by toxicity, so how it lands for people, and any kind of observable differences in their demeanor, for example, right? If you're on the receiving end of toxicity and you're just being mistreated online, is the recipient, is the receiver noticeably affected by that, right? Does their mood drop? Does their morale drop? Does their sportsmanship drop? So there's going to be some things that we look for in terms of the immediate noticeable effects of toxicity on others. I'm going to begin this video series with an attempt to define the terms. I think it's important in any kind of educational venture, academic venture, that we do our best to make sure we know what we're talking about, how we're talking about it. And the reason I say attempt to define terms is because even in the research that I have sourced for this video series, there's still not a reliable common consensus on the definition for toxicity in online gaming. And there are even branching terms that try to define it, but maybe are not exactly toxicity as we might know it as gamers ourselves. So I'm going to make an attempt to define the terms at the beginning. I will be drawing on those sources that I mentioned, the things that are going to be linked below. But again, I'm really open to your feedback, your perspectives on what toxicity might be for you, how you might define it. And then maybe eventually we can come to a definition that sort of suits everybody, that feels satisfying to everybody. So we'll see. I will be looking at the current research on toxicity in gaming. I will make an effort to illustrate why we should care about this topic. Why is it important to us? And as I mentioned, later videos are going to delve into clips of actual toxicity, and we're going to break those down live. Thank you for listening to my little intro spiel here. I hope these topics are interesting to you. If you want to stick around, like I said, this is going to be a whole series. I'll have a playlist on my channel, and each week we will be going through with a new episode of Detox. Those initial episodes are going to lay things out just as I described, and then the following videos are mostly going to be comprised of video breakdowns, maybe some chat interaction, and unfolding new information that we might come across as we go. Thanks for being here. Thanks for joining. Feel free to post anything in the comments that you think might be useful, and I hope to see you in the next one.